Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Feel free to say hello in the chat, and we'll get started in just a minute. Wonderful. Seeing some messages come through. Good morning, Jay. Good morning, Jennifer. Hi, Kent. We'll just give everybody a second to jump on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Toby, Claudia, hi. Thank you so much for being here. Wonderful. All right. Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I am thrilled to be here in collaboration with Vibely, talking about how to build a brand for your coaching business and how Vibely can help you make this happen. So we've got over 150 people signed up for this webinar, and it's just after the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and get started. So for today's webinar, you're going to need a notebook and a pen or a Word document to take some notes. We are going to be doing some actual work together during our time today, and I want to make sure that you're ready to jot down any ideas and takeaways that you have from our time together. So here's what you'll learn by the end of our time together today. You'll learn what separates a coach from a brand and why that matters. You'll learn the 3 systems that every coaching brand needs to thrive, and you'll learn how to look professional without a designer or a tech team. We'll also talk about why branding is your #1 asset in building your coaching business. So I hope you've got your Word doc or your notebook ready to go, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you. So before we get into everything, I want to take a minute to introduce myself and tell you who I am and why I'm here today. So my name is Sonia Eklund, and I'm a board-certified health and wellness coach, a financial social work coach, a learning and development professional, and a behavior change expert with 14 years of experience helping people navigate transitions and change their lives through the power of coaching. I started my own coaching business back in 2011, and I ran it part-time on the side of my corporate coaching and training career until I took it full-time in 2024. So in the meantime, I earned over 5,000 hours of coaching experience. I developed the NBHWC approved training program at a leading corporate health and wellness company. I was the lead faculty member for a coach training program for 3 years. And I trained over 200 new hire health coaches, as well as helped 100 students pass the NBHWC board exam. And I managed continuing ed for a team of 300 coaching professionals. So coaching and training are sort of my 2 things, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to lend those skills to Vibely and be here today. So Vibely invited me to be here to talk about my experience building a brand for my own personal coaching business. And I'm really excited to share with you today how I've used that personal brand to grow my business on a very small budget. And I'm looking forward to helping you do the same. So let's go ahead and get started. So in the chat, I want you to give me a quick reaction. Type the word yes if you saw this sentence go out in Vibely's email or on LinkedIn or on Reddit inviting you to this webinar and you cringed when you read this sentence. You're not just a coach, you're a brand. Did anybody cringe upon reading that? Okay, yeah, a few yeses. Same. I want you to know that if that's you, you're not alone. When Vibely asked me if I would put on this webinar about how my personal brand has helped me grow my coaching business, my first thought was like, I'm not a brand, I'm just a coach. But that's actually totally not true. And actually, it's a really good thing that I don't necessarily feel like I'm a brand because I'm just being me. So it's taken me years to realize that having a really recognizable brand identity is actually kind of a superpower in business. And I'm super excited to help you realize that for yourself. So branding has kind of a bad reputation. For a lot of us, it evokes images of influencer culture and super curated Instagram feeds, and that doesn't totally feel aligned for some really heart-centered coaching professionals. But I want to hear from you. When you think of branding, what words come to mind? Go ahead and type some things in the chat. Maggie, I love that you said you actually love it and you want to learn more. That's fantastic. I also see manipulation and exaggeration, definitely strategy, selling, MLM schemes, marketing, Nike, Amazon, Pepsi, fabulous examples. promotion and marketing. Absolutely. So, branding and marketing are totally connected. And I think that a lot of people do kind of have this connotation that branding is a little bit sleazy, right? But I also see some things like advertising, getting yourselves out there, identity. Fantastic answers. Thank you so much for your participation. So, I want to invite us to think about branding from just a slightly different perspective. And let's start by looking at a definition. So, branding is the process of establishing a company's identity and differentiating it from competitors, often using a name, design, or slogan to make it easily recognizable to the public. And so when you think about it that way, there's really nothing sleazy or oversold about branding, right? It's just a way of getting yourself out there and developing a unique identity. So, branding really is about developing your own unique and authentic point of view to get your message out into the world. And it definitely does not have to be sleazy, salesy, or overdone. In fact, the best branding is branding that's really authentic and full of integrity and super aligned. And when your branding accurately represents you, it's a really powerful tool to just get your message out there and grow your business. I also want to say that when the right people come across your branding, they're going to know it and they're going to be excited and eager to work with you. So, I'm a coach and this is a coaching presentation. And so I'm going to pose some questions to you to get you thinking about your own unique brand identity. So this is where I'm going to encourage you to take out your notebook or take out your Word doc. And I want you to just take a couple minutes to really start thinking through some of these questions. So jot down your quick responses to these. You don't have to spend a ton of time on any of these, but I'm curious, what unique perspectives do you bring to your work as a coach? Like, do you have a super specific niche that you're focused on, or some kind of lived experience that can majorly contribute to helping others? And then let's think about the visuals. What kinds of colors represent your vibe? Are you into black and white high contrast? Are you into bright neons or jewel tones? Or do you respond more to like soft and subdued hues? And what kind of look are you into? Do you respond best to marketing that's sort of minimal or bright or monochromatic or really loud and poppy? What words would your close friends and family use to describe you? Are you more serious or fun and lighthearted? Are you heartfelt, quiet, chatty, unapologetic? Come up with like 3 to 5 words that just describe your vibe and jot those down. And then, what's your writing style or your content style? Are you into super short and sweet, or are you more of a long form person? Or do you prefer short videos, carousels, blog posts, deep dives on YouTube? Start to get a feel for what your content style is. And then finally, are there any phrases or words or slogans that you find yourself saying often? Any little lines that you repeat to yourself or fun words that you love to use whenever you get the opportunity? And if so, write those down. So I know these were a lot of questions, and I hope that what this did is just got you thinking a little bit about what your own unique brand might be. Feel free to take a screenshot of this slide and spend some more time with these questions, but know that whatever you wrote down initially, your kind of first gut reaction is probably really telling you something, and I would encourage you to listen to that and to pay attention. Okay, so when I was first getting started in my coaching practice back in 2011, I remember hearing somebody tell me that people don't buy coaching, they buy connection. And at the time, this was shocking to me. I was like, no, I totally disagree. Of course, people buy coaching. Coaching is amazing. And so, in the first iteration of my business's brand, I made it all about the value of coaching. I made it all about why coaching is great and why you should hire a coach and what a coach can help you do. And I made it super focused on coaching. And guess what happened? Well, I succeeded in helping people understand that coaching is amazing, but they went on to pursue working with a different coach. And why did this happen? It was because I didn't do anything to tell people why they might want to work with me specifically. I told them a whole bunch of reasons why coaching is great, but I didn't tell them anything about why I was great. I did not talk about how I specifically could help them, or what made me a unique coaching professional, or why they might want to consider working with me instead of one of the other thousands of coaches out there. I really thought that I was focused on making my brand ethical and full of integrity because we all know that coaching is not about us. It's about our clients, it's about their goals, it's about their lives, and it's about their well being. But by making my brand impersonal and focus so much on the product of coaching itself, I lost out on opportunities to connect with people. I missed opportunities to really show the world who I am and what makes my coaching style unique and why somebody might want to work on changing their lives with me as their coach. So I lost clients in this process, but I learned a ton from this experience. So let's talk a little bit about what separates a coach from a brand. A brand is what helps people see who you are and understand why they might want to work with you specifically. And a coach is who you are and how you show up when you work with the people that you're supporting. And here's the thing, if a brand new potential client who doesn't know you doesn't feel connected to you through your branding, then they're not going to hire you no matter how good your offer is. In today's market, which is pretty crowded and pretty saturated, your brand is really your advantage. It is your differentiator. It is the thing that helps people understand who you are and what makes you unique. And it does not have to feel fake or forced. So I mentioned that my first original brand totally focused on the product of coaching and not at all on who I am as a coach. But let's fast forward to now. These days, I run a successful coaching, consulting, and education business. And I credit a lot of my success to these two simple sentences that you see on the screen. You don't have to navigate the messy, overwhelming, and complicated parts of life alone, my friend. Think of me as your super organized BFF who can help you find clarity in the chaos and turn overwhelm into action through the power of coaching. So I'm curious, in the chat, tell me, what do you know about me just from reading those two sentences and seeing this screenshot from my website? What can you start to assume about what it might be like to work with me? Go ahead and put that in the chat. You'll walk alongside me through the ups and downs. Absolutely. Casual confidence, personable, calming, compassionate, super organized. Yeah, that I wouldn't have to be together to start working with you. Love that. And like it's getting coffee with a friend. Absolutely. Thank you. That means my branding is working. The fact that you all were able to kind of pick up on those things just from those couple sentences is really cool. And that's what I want for you to build for yourselves as well. I want for people to come to your website or your Vibely profile or your social media or wherever you are online and understand what it would feel like to work with you. So, really cool to see this. Supportive, collaborative, professional, caring, and always present, and chill. Love those answers. That's exactly what I was trying to evoke in my colors, my photos, my sentences, the way that I write on my website. All of those things is how I want people to feel because that's exactly authentic to me and who I am and what it's like to work with me as a coach. So let's talk a little bit about how to help you find your own unique point of view and your voice to build your brand. And to do that, I want to break down for you this really brilliant analogy that I learned from a marketing professional named Rebecca Van Dam. And Rebecca talks all about branding and marketing for small business owners like a garden. So, in order to have a successful business, we need to have happy, healthy, and nurtured clients. And in our analogy, each client is a sunflower. And we want to grow a whole big field of sunflowers. But unless somebody gives us a field full of sunflowers, we can't just start there. In order to get sunflowers, we've got to back up a step. So, in order to grow a sunflower, what do we need? The first thing we need are seeds so that we can start growing our flowers. And for this, we need to know, first of all, what kind of flower are we trying to grow? This is all about making sure that you know who your ideal client is who you're speaking to, what kind of person you're trying to attract to your business, what kind of problems you help solve, as well as what kind of content people are going to respond to. And this is a step that a lot of people miss. A lot of people never really think about the seeds that they need to plant because they're so focused on getting the end result of flowers or their finished product, finished customer. So they just kind of like start throwing random seeds into the ground and sort of wait to see what happens. But I'm inviting you today to give this a little bit of thought so that you plant the right kind of seeds for the specific flowers or customers that you are trying to grow. So once we've got our seeds, we need a little bit of soil. But the soil can't just be any kind of soil because remember, we are trying to grow a beautiful field full of sunflowers from our tiny little seeds. So we can't use cactus soil or orchid soil to grow sunflowers, right? We need to have the right kind of soil for the specific kind of flowers that we are trying to grow. So, in our analogy, the soil is where we're showing up online and in person to talk about our business and sort of get the word out there. You've really got to choose where you want to show up online and what kinds of content you're creating to make sure that you're tending to the seeds that you've planted. So, for example, if your ideal clients are on TikTok, then posting on Facebook probably doesn't make much sense and is probably not going to result in the kind of results that you actually want. So, it's really smart to start thinking about where your people are and then start being in those places online. So now that we've got our seeds planted in the right kind of soil, we need a few more things to actually help those seeds grow and turn into flowers. And the first thing is water. In our analogy, water is consistent communication. We need to be showing up really consistently with value and generosity in order for our seeds to sprout. And if you have ever over or underwatered a plant before, you know that that can be kind of a recipe for disaster in keeping a plant alive and actually growing seeds. So, consistent watering is really key for making sure that you are nurturing those seeds and turning them into flowers. Now, next in our analogy is sunlight. Sunlight is your unique perspective or point of view that makes you stand out. This is the thing that's going to attract clients to you, help them know that they're in the right place, and want to grow with you specifically. This can also be clarity around your why and your purpose and your goals and why it is that you're running a business, why you became a coach, why it is that you chose to show up and make a difference to others. One thing that's really important to remember when you're running a coaching business is that not everybody is for everybody, and that is okay. So we want to attract the right people to our business, not everybody to our business. And the best way to do that is just by authentically being ourselves and letting our own unique point of view shine through. So, next in our analogy, now that we've got kind of the basics down, we've got water, we've got sunlight, we've got seeds, and we've got soil, we're going to add a little bit of fertilizer to our analogy. And fertilizer is things like boosted social media posts. You don't need it in order to grow flowers or get clients, but with a little bit of fertilizer sprinkled on top of a really solid brand strategy, it can yield some nice results. So, in this step of the analogy, what's important is that fertilizer is not a substitute for seeds, soil, water, or sunlight. And it's really important to remember that in order for this to work, it's got to be authentic. So, let's think about how this works in an actual garden. We've got organic fertilizers and we've got synthetic fertilizers. And organic fertilizers really enhance the health and performance of plants, while synthetic fertilizers might cause growth, but it might not be the right kind of growth or really sustainable growth. So that brings us to the algorithm. The algorithm in our analogy is a little bit like the wind. It's kind of unpredictable. It's just not possible to know which way it's going to blow. And so it's really best to not have your entire brand strategy and your entire content strategy on social media because it's unpredictable how social media is going to behave and react. So now with all of that stuff, plus a little bit of time and patience, we have our flower or our first client. And this is how we consistently are going to see our business grow is by nurturing and tending to each and every one of the people that we serve. So once you figure out who your ideal client is, figure out how to talk to them, start showing up consistently in the places where your clients hang out online, And once you develop your unique point of view, you're going to start getting more people coming to you who really are the right fit for your business. And that's when we can expect our business to actually start to grow. And that's also when we can start to expect to attract some pollinators to our garden. So, in our analogy, pollinators are our networkers or our referral sources. But we can't have pollinators without first having a few clients or flowers. And so remember that this is actually kind of the last step in your branding and marketing journey. A lot of people talk about how referral sources are like the first thing you need, but I don't think that's so true. I think that consistency and understanding your unique perspective and really understanding your clients and their pain points is really where to start. So think of this as kind of your last step: your client testimonials, your Google reviews, your LinkedIn reviews, people sharing your Instagram posts or handing out your business card or saying your name in rooms that you're not in. So a thriving business can look something like this. It's taking care of your current clients, tending to your new clients, all while your unique perspective helps the garden grow. And you're welcoming pollinators in that buzz into your garden and tell other people about you and your work. Building a solid brand strategy is the number one asset you have in growing your business because it's what's going to facilitate all of this to happen. So let's break this down just a little bit. I want to invite you to take out your notebook or open your Word doc again, and let's spend some time thinking about how this garden analogy applies to you and the type of business that you're trying to grow. So I want to invite you to think about, who is your ideal client? Now, there are a lot of exercises on this that can help you get really specific, and I absolutely recommend doing those things. It's really worth it to take a deeper dive into this topic. And to do that, you can look up exercises on an ideal client avatar or a bullseye client. But for now, I just want you to think about the absolute basics. Who is this person? Maybe how old are they? How do they spend their time? And what kinds of challenges are they facing? And then I want to invite you to think about what kind of content your ideal client needs. Do they like long form posts, short reels? Do they want daily texts or weekly emails? Maybe they're interested in videos or tweets or audio recordings. This is going to determine what kind of content makes sense to create. And if you recall, I asked earlier what kind of content you enjoy writing. And so it's really good to make sure that these two things match up. The kind of content that you enjoy writing should also be the kind of content that your ideal client likes to consume. Next is, where do your ideal clients hang out online? What platforms are they on? But also, where do they go in real life? Where might people find you online and offline? And then, where does it feel sustainable for you to show up consistently online? This might sound really obvious, but if you hate Instagram, don't choose Instagram as the main platform you use, right? In order for us to actually be consistent and show up somewhere consistently over time, we need to not hate it. So make sure that you pay attention to how you feel when you think about being in these certain places online. And then, what's your unique perspective or your point of view? I asked a similar question earlier, and it's great to think about this a little bit more from the client's perspective. This one can be kind of hard to identify for ourselves. So I want to encourage you to start writing some things down, but also maybe consider asking a friend or asking a family member or asking one of your previous clients or a practice client, somebody who's actually had experience working with you, to see if they can help you come up with some words that resonate. And then last but not least, how can you start the process of spreading the word about your business? This might be through things like getting a couple testimonials, collecting a Google review or a LinkedIn review, asking a couple people if they would be willing to share your posts on social media to help you spread the word, or inviting people to forward your emails. So I would love to encourage you to take a screenshot of this slide if you want to revisit some of these questions. But I hope it was helpful to just think a little bit about how this analogy applies to your unique business. So, for those of you who cringed when you first heard the sentence, "You're not just a coach, you're a brand," I'm really curious to hear whether this reframe and this new perspective helps you see it differently. So, type yes if you agree with this. Branding is not about creating some kind of perfect internet persona. It's about being authentic and true to yourself and knowing that the right people will resonate with your message. Let me know if that makes you feel a little bit better about branding. Okay, I'm seeing some yeses pop in. Awesome to hear. Branding really is your best friend in your business. And so it can be so helpful to just think about it from the perspective of authenticity and know that the right people are going to respond well to the message that you put out there. So let's talk a little bit about how Vibely can help you bring your brand to life and help you grow your business. So I mentioned earlier that I've been running a coaching practice since 2011 and that it's been my full-time job for just a little bit over a year. But it truly was not until I found Vibely last year that things really started to grow for me. Remember earlier when I told you that a sentence I use in my branding is "your super organized BFF"? It's true, I am super organized, but I was honestly starting to kind of hit the limits of my own organization as my business started to grow. I was managing a website and a calendar system and payments over Stripe and Venmo and PayPal and invoicing. I had a Zoom account and a Google Workspace account. I was using Google Forms and an endless number of PDF coaching agreements sorted into files and more. And I was just managing all of those systems only to see my coaching clients. That doesn't even touch the systems I was using for my consulting practice or for my education practice. I was also creating content for social media, managing my inbox, doing marketing, and I was honestly just starting to get pretty burned out. Can anybody relate to this? Type yes in the chat if that sounds like what you're dealing with in your own business. Okay, yeah. It's great. I love to see this. A lot of yeses coming through. Absolutely. Okay, so when I heard about Vibely, I honestly thought it was too good to be true. Diego sent me a message on LinkedIn, and I was just like, I'm curious. I kind of want to know what this is about and to see if maybe this could help me. And so I've been using Vibely for a little over 6 months now, and they helped me go from managing 9 different systems in my tech stack just to see my coaching clients down to one simple and easy to use system. And with that extra time, I was able to focus way more of my energy on building up a solid brand, creating a content strategy, putting more energy into making connections and meeting new people, and ultimately seeing more coaching clients. So, when I talk to brand new students who are just graduating from their board approved training program, or when I talk to people who have been in private practice for a long time and are just struggling, this is the advice that I always give them. Figuring out your systems is the number one thing to prioritize when building your business. Now, a lot of people assume that the number one thing to prioritize when building your business is getting clients. And that makes sense, right? We need clients in order to have a sustainable business. But in order to effectively serve your clients, you need systems. And what kind of systems do you specifically need? In my opinion, there are 3 systems that every coach needs. The first is a client flow system for booking, scheduling, and payment processing so that clients can easily book sessions with you. The second is a service visibility system for personal branding and for coaching offers so that clients can find you online and see what you offer and get a feel for who you are. And the third is a lead magnet system for hosting workshops and webinars that get people in the door of your business and help them see all of the amazing things that you have to offer. So, like I mentioned, I was using 9 different systems to run all of this just to see my coaching clients. And Vibely consolidated all of this into one system that is HIPAA compliant and easy to use. So, I want to take you on a little tour of the platform and show you around what you get on Vibely. Plus, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's included in Vibely Pro. So, let's start with the profile. This is the place where your personal brand is going to start to shine. Vibely gives you the ability to edit and publish a profile that tells your clients everything they would need to know about working with you. You can super seamlessly edit your Vibely profile so that as your brand and your business evolves, you can make those changes to make sure that your profile really reflects who you are and what you do. Vibely designed their profile to tell everything that a client would need to know about getting started working with you. And I think this is so cool. They ask you questions that are actually super relevant for our clients to know. They've done the research about what clients actually need to know when hiring a coach. And so every question on the profile is a question that's relevant to new clients. You can also create an unlimited number of services on the Vibely site. You can offer one-on-one coaching sessions, you can offer coaching packages, you can offer live events and workshops, and you can create as many different variations of these things as you like. Coming soon to the Vibely Pro tier will be options to create group coaching and cohort coaching, as well as on-demand evergreen courses. And something else that's really cool is that you can create public services that are listed on your Vibely profile and available to everyone, as well as private services that are only accessible to certain people via a URL that you can share. So once your profile and your services are ready to go, then you can add your availability into your schedule. This is where you can sync multiple calendars, you can choose date ranges, you can set buffer times, minimum notice blocks, and you can set daily session limits for how many people you want to see. And once you hit publish on your profile and services and you add your availability to your calendar, you get added into Vibely's marketplace where your new clients can see your entire profile. You can see on the screen a little screen video of what it looks like when you're scrolling through a complete Vibely profile. And this is what's visible to clients in the marketplace and what can help you get matched with clients. So it's also super easy to book through Vibely. Look at what's happening on the screen. It's incredibly simple to book an appointment, whether that's a discovery call or whether that's a paid session. So there's no more managing a bunch of calendar links or tons of different payment portals. Everything that you need is included with Vibely, and it's incredibly easy for your clients to book sessions with you. So let's look a little bit at the back end of Vibely and what you'll see when you start working with clients. So we all know that once you get a new client, you need to share a coaching agreement with that client. And Vibely makes it super easy to upload coaching agreements and send them to clients or prospects. In the pro version of Vibely, you can even send agreements to a client where they can e-sign so that there's no uploading or downloading entire PDFs. It's also super easy then to see which of your clients has signed the coaching agreement and who you still need to get it back from. So if you want to send a coaching assessment to a client, you can super easily upload forms into Vibely and seamlessly send them off from the Forms tab or from the Client tab for a super easy user experience. You can also organize forms by collection to keep track of everything in one place. And you can see who has filled out which form from the Client tab or from the Forms tab. Super easy interface and super easy to see who's filled out what. Same thing with resources. If you want to share resources like an article or a YouTube video or a link to a blog post that you wrote, you can share those all super easily from within Vibely. All you do is you upload resources to Vibely and then you send them to clients or prospects from the resources tab or from the client tab. So it's like 1 or 2 clicks to share a PDF, a link, or a video, and then you can super easily see the history of what you've shared with your clients so that you don't send them the same resource again. And when it's actually time for a session with your client, you're going to log in and you'll see your dashboard. Your dashboard shows you the details of your upcoming appointments, including a button to join a HIPAA-compliant Google Meet at the time of your session. It also gives you tips for optimizing your profile, and the dashboard gives you a really easy shareable link for your public Vibely profile. It also shows some upcoming events that take place within the Vibely community. So once it's time for your session and you've joined the session and it's time to start taking some notes and keeping track of what happens during that session, you'll open up the client's view. And here's where you'll find super easy tabs for your schedule, notes, resources, forms, agreement, and chat. This is everything you need to manage a client during a coaching session. And you can super easily toggle between all of these tabs so that you can easily schedule the next session, check which resources you've sent to your clients, double check that they've signed the forms and agreements, and where you can add your notes. Now, notes are something I love about Vibely. Vibely has this really unique note taking system that allows you to save private notes, shareable notes, and client notes. So, private notes are private to you, the coach. Shareable notes are visible to you and to your client. Your client actually gets a notification when you share shareable notes. So, if you want to jot down the client's goals or action steps and share them with the client, Vibely makes it super easy for you to do that without having to send your client a follow up email. Client notes are taken by the client on the client's dashboard, and those are visible both to the client and to you. If you need to send a message to a client after a session, you can super easily send them a chat. Within the chat feature, you can send HIPAA compliant chat messages to all clients and all prospects. So, this way, you can offer support to your clients in between your sessions without giving out your phone number or having to deal with sending a bunch of emails. And you can keep all your communication in one place. Now, when you need to check something for one of your clients, you can go into the client view and you can see a really robust list of everybody you're working with, as well as a summary of how many sessions they've used and where they are in their coaching package, as well as little pop ups for notes and messages and scheduling and forms. You can also sort this list by seeing all your active clients or your inactive clients or the client leads or prospects that you have, which is a super helpful and organized way for getting back in touch with people or for following up with new leads. Another bonus of being a Vibely coach is being part of the community of certified and credentialed coaches who are all passionate about making a difference in the world using their own unique voice, brand, and message. So within the Vibely community, you can network, collaborate, you can exchange ideas, or find referral partners within our community of over 1,000 coaches. So I mentioned that the client has some unique features in Vibely as well. This is a quick screen grab of the client dashboard, which the client can see. And from here, the client can schedule sessions, they can fill out their forms, they can look at their resources, they can e-sign their agreements in the pro tier of Vibely, or they can respond to or send chat messages. They can also view their invoices, and this is where they'll also be able to see notes on their sessions. So with Vibely, you get this super robust client dashboard that makes it super easy for you to communicate with your clients and just do everything all in one place. So there is so much to love about Vibely and so much to explore about Vibely. And this is just kind of a quick recap. But if you are a board certified health and wellness coach who would like to learn more about Vibely and earn a CEU in the process, I'm going to pop a link into the chat where you can go to take a CE course on growing your practice with Vibely. So I would love to have you check this out if you are interested in just getting a deeper dive into what the platform has to offer and to earn a CEU along the way. So I'm super excited to tell you this as well. As a thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Vibely is offering a 30% discount off of their pro tier for life. So let's recap what is actually in the pro tier. I just showed you a little bit of the Vibely platform, but you get everything that you get in the basic tier plus some other things. So you're getting online payments, scheduling and calendar, a personal intro video, discovery sessions, video meetings, messaging, session notes, shareable resources, forms and agreements, coaching programs, essentially a whole website, as well as a client portal. And in the pro version, you're getting interactive forms, e-signed agreements, smart scheduling, custom availability and multi-calendar sync, built-in templates, a curated resource library, and the ability to offer evergreen and online courses. So super robust. I cannot I seriously cannot fathom the fact that all of these things are included in one platform. It has truly simplified things for me so much. So basically, this means that your tech stack could cost you $1.35 a day, and there will never be a price increase. So I'm going to pop the link to this promotion into the chat so that you can open this up if you're interested in joining Vibely and taking advantage of this discount. And I really, really hope that this webinar got you thinking about your own unique point of view and your own brand identity, as well as how to get your message out into the world and what systems you need in order to effectively run a coaching business of your own. I'm going to share one additional resource with you, which is in case you are a coach who maybe wants some additional support in figuring out other resources, other things that help you run a business really smoothly. This is a free resource I created called The 7 Systems I Use to Manage My Coaching Practice. Vibely is system number 1, but there are a few other things that are a little bit more business related that you'll find within this PDF. So if you want to know a little bit more about what a real coach running a real coaching business does to manage business finances, my go-tos for continuing education, as well as how I keep all my projects organized, this resource can help you out. So I just popped a link to that in the chat as well. So I saw a couple of questions in here that I want to make sure I answer. The first one is, can we get these slides? There's going to be a recording of this shared, so you can absolutely watch this again and take screenshots of the slides and listen in on everything that I've said so far. And then the question of, do you need to get your own LLC? You do not need to do that in order to be a coach on Vibely. You can be a sole proprietor or you can have an LLC. That's a decision that you can make about what's going to work best for you and your specific business. Oh, I love this comment. So Shelby says that Vibely has helped her tremendously and it's what she's needed for nearly 10 years. Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more, Shelby. Truly, that is how I felt. I'm like, where was this back in 2011 when I first got started? It would have saved me a lot of trouble. So really glad to be able to share this resource with all of you and loved getting a chance to talk to you about branding. And if you have any questions about the promotion that I shared details about, or if you want to chat with the Vibely team, I would love to encourage you to join Diego for his weekly live demo where you can learn more about Vibely. Or you can book a call with the Vibely team, or you can send Vibely an email at vibely@vibely.io. So I'll stick around to see if there are any questions, but that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me and enjoy the rest of the day. If you do have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Let's see. Oh, thank you for adding the weekly live demo link. And you can use the links from the recording later. Yes, those links will stay live. You already have an LLC. That's not a problem at all. That's great. Having an LLC is definitely a smart thing to do, depending on how you run your business. Love that you think Diego is amazing. Couldn't agree more, Shelby. And thank you so much for being here. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch and enjoy the rest of your day.